All right, guys, thanks for checking out another Autosports engineering product video. Once again, it's not specifically geared around an install, but just an overview on the features and what you're going to be getting with this particular item. Now, what I got right here in front of me is my Mark IV 93 to 97 for the US and 98 Supra triple fuel pump hanger. It might look simple, but it does a great job at getting you guys the fuel that you need for these big horsepower builds. For the guys that don't want to go with a large external pump or spend the money on brushless, the configuration as is allows you to run 3.5 inch style body or 39 millimeter roughly thereabouts for the fuel pumps. So that means you can use a wide variety of any Walbro that's going to be out there, because all the Walbros, even the turbine bases found on the newer pumps, the bodies of the pumps are 1.5 inch, just like the older 255s. The AEM, like A300 or 340 ethanol pump is also going to be the same size. Dishworks also makes a pump that's going to be the same size. So, I mean, 9 times out of 10, this bracket and the body is going to fit the vast majority of all of the pumps that are going to be out there. Now, you'll look at it and you probably say, well, how do I get it all together? What are the components? Well, the primary thing you're going to notice is we have a high quality bulkhead connector, 6-pin configuration. When you say, well, with 6 pins, how am I going to wire everything in there? Well, that's pretty simple. What I did on the design was I actually integrated a ground lug on the top and the bottom and used the precision laser for actually removing the anodizing and then threading for the 6 millimeter studs that are on the top and the bottom. And that allows you to run a singular ground for all of your actual grounds that are passing through the hat, and frees up the operation of the 6 pins for your pump triggers as well as your temp and the fuel flow. So it's pretty basic, but when you think about it, it really makes everything very functional. And that's one of the newer changes that I've done on there. The secondary change, this does not look like the hat that was made maybe like 4 or 5 years ago originally. So I've actually changed it where now it's more standardized, where you're gonna get it with a singular -10 outlet and a singular -8 return. That by far has been the most popular request, so that's why it's become a standard as far as that. The pump bracket here, it looks a little off, you might think. Because of the modularity of the design, what you're gonna get is a pump bracket that, honestly, I use it on 2 other applications, so that's why it has 2 different configurations, but it makes it so it's a lot easier to stock the items, where this will work on something else, and the turnaround as far as manufacturing, it gets product back on the shelves faster for all of you guys. Now, the hardware for mounting the float is included. The wiring, what we do supply is actually a connector kit. And this is also high quality. These are good for 40 amp wiring. You have spare pins, and you have enough to wire the inside and the exterior. Once again, just like all of our other hangers, I do not provide wiring instructions. I highly recommend that anybody that is familiar with 12 volt electronics do the wiring for you. It's not complicated. If you want to follow standardized instructions on how to set up 4 or a 5-pin relay, there's plenty of info out there on the internet that's actually valid from technical sources, not just YouTube channels. But like I said, it's that simple. Now, you're getting PTFE flex hoses, 1 for each of the optional pump positions. And even though it's a triple, you don't have to run all 3 pumps. What happens is you also get NPT plugs, where you can essentially plug any of the unused ports. So if you were only going to run, say, 2 pumps to begin with, what you could do is, you see this is a custom machine merge that I designed. It's great for flow and transition. So if you wanted to run only 2 pumps, we would take out one of these barbs and just screw in the NPT plug to basically plug off that hole. It's that simple. You don't have to cap any of these, just remove the barb fitting, plug it. And the ease of installation with the PTFE hose makes it really easy while you're configuring everything, because you have the ability to loop hoses such as this and no kinking. Doesn't get any better than that. That's why we use PTFE flex hose versus standardized rubber like the Goodyear hose. And this is all E85 compliant. Now, you'll wonder, well, how come there's one long hose? Well, this is for the return port. And the reason I use one long hose is so that this will actually drop to the bottom of the tank, so that your return will always be at the bottom. You won't have a tendency to want to aerate your fuel system. And so makes it pretty easy. Now, you're gonna wanna go and get an Oetker clamp or swap these out for non-cut-in style fuel hose clamps. I prefer the Oetkers. A clamp is available on Amazon or eBay for like $18 or $19. It's a single crimp. They won't cut through the plastic flats on the hose. It works out great, you know, very simple. Now I'm gonna show you real quick just how we secure the pumps in place. As you notice, this is fully encapsulated. Now, here's one of the Walbro pumps I was referring to, and this is the turbine style body, which you'll notice it has a larger base than the primary portion of the housing. This is the diameter that I refer to as being 1.5 inches or 39 millimeters. So to secure these in, what you're gonna wanna do is just slide them up just like that. You'll notice you have a little bit of play, and that allows for the accommodation of the variety of pumps that are on the market. Now, once you got it in place, the pre-install set screws, there's one for each pump location. All you got to do is snug it down with a little turn. You don't need to over tighten that. What you're going to end up doing is pinching the body of the pump and risking internal damage. And you see lightly snugged in, that's it. That's all it takes. It's not going to fall out. It's sitting in your tank. And the most it's gonna do is maybe slide down a little bit and rest on the bottom of the tank, which is where it's supposed to be anyway, at the lowest point, once the filter is installed. Outside of that, there isn't very much else. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You see 3-to-1 merge, connect as many hoses as you need for however many pumps you'll be running. Use the plugs to plug off the rest, and that's it. Run all of your primary triggers and signals through the bulkhead connector, and use the grounding lug for everything else, for all the grounds on the system. Obviously, I send everything to you in loose fashion, so you can tighten it all up, so you can move it around. Even the bottom, there's a socket head Allen down here. Once you orient everything, just go ahead and tighten that up and the swivel motion will go away. You're gonna wanna put Teflon tape on the merge and then snug it all up with a pair of pliers or wrenches. You realistically, the way how these are configured on top, I usually tighten these up so you don't have to mess with them. There is a Boss O-ring underneath. So if you ever mess with it and you might cut your O-ring or something, you can easily find those and replace it. This is gonna be the vent tube for the factory vent. You'll just run the factory line over to here, reconnect it, and that's it. But other than that, thanks for checking out this video on a quick overview. This is the Mark IV fuel pump hanger for the 93 to 97 US and the 98 JDM and European Supra. Thanks for checking out the video. Make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like, and stay tuned for the next one that's coming up. Thanks.